friends, welcome to another episode of the Cozy Cottage Crochet podcast. My name is Hannah, and this is a podcast all about crochet, a little bit of knitting, sometimes sewing, and generally living the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I live. I'm in a different location today. I'm actually in the corner of my husband's office, and it is Friday night at 7 p.m. Nothing like getting it in under the wire. I was going to record this earlier, like Sunday, a week ago almost, but the babies were sick and it didn't happen. So I actually have a ton of stuff to show you, but it has been a wild week. So if you are looking for me anywhere on the interweb, you can find me as the Cozy Cottage Crochet on Instagram. You can find me as the Cozy Cottage on Ravelry. And anything about the podcast, please email me. It is thecozycottagecrochet@gmail.com. Water. I'm so dehydrated. I feel like I say that a lot, but it's true. So I have some finished objects, y'all. And this episode, I'm going to title it Sock Parade, because I have not one, not two, but 3 pairs of finished socks. I know. So we're going to do all the socks first, and then I have a new knitting project to show you, and two crochet projects and a Tunisian crochet project, because it's been longer than normal since I have talked to you. It's been like 2.5 weeks. So I'm just going to grab the first sock bag and we are going to jump right in. Yes. Here it is. I, first of all, finished the socks that I have been obsessed with. And of course I I didn't. The yarn is still here. I'm really happy about that. This is a silk blend, Saki silk yarn, 55% merino, 25% nylon, 20% silk. It is in the colorway 308. And I am calling these my silk volcano socks. This is very out of my normal color palette, but I just have been obsessed with this yarn. I'm so glad that I finally made socks out of it. And it's a 100-gram ball. I think I could make another pair. I totally think I could. I have my sock blockers. One of these socks was finished last time, and I want to say I was getting pretty close. I have waved in all my ends. So I took all the stitch markers off. But this is number 1. And sock number 2, I feel like maybe I was like an inch or a half an inch from the toe, perhaps. And I just really wanted to get these done because I really want to wear them. So all I have to do is take some photos and wash them, and they are good to go. This one seems to be a little more white than this one. Like this one has a little more flecks of white on both sides. You can kind of see that. Like this one really does not have any white at all. And this one has flecks of white. I think they're just gorgeous. I'm so happy with them. This is my standard sock recipe currently. So I cast on 64 stitches on a 2.25 millimeter needle. I do 15 rounds of 2x2 ribbing. Looks like this. Then I do 20 rounds of cuff. I used to do 15 rounds, but I've decided in my old age that I need to do 20 rounds. And then I do a fish lips kiss heel. Just knit for the foot, straight stockinette, and then I do a rounded toe. And I will show you. I don't have a wedge toe to show you. This is what a rounded toe looks like. It's much more like you can see how it curves instead of just being straight like this. So that's pair number 1. I'm really, really, really excited about them. I can't wait to wear them. They're just beautiful and squishy, and it feels good to have a finished object. And in its place in the sock bag is already a new pair of socks. I think I'm on, I have passed the cuff. So this is yarn that came from my lovely friend Amanda. This yarn was a gift from a lovely lady named Rochelle. This yarn was a gift from my friend Amanda. It's West Yorkshire Spinner's Signature 4-ply Sparkle. It is the colorway Vintage Tencel. I think I may have showed this last time. But oh my gosh, the sparkle, you guys. I am currently obsessed with making Christmas socks. I think that I have just enough to make a pair of shorty socks with this without adding contrast toes, heels, and cuffs. We will see. I like to live dangerously. I have not split the ball or weighed it. I weighed it. It was like 55 grams. That should be enough. So she sent me basically the leftovers of something she had used, and I'm totally making socks out of these. So this is what I've done so far. I just cast it on. The stripe pattern is not going to exactly match because I don't have enough yarn for that. So I decided, who cares? We'll just start where we start. And I have to remember to hold things over here because the light is better over here than over here, shadow. So yeah, I adore the sparkle. And so the pattern, the stripe pattern is red, purple, green, red, blue. Maybe this is orange. So I think that I've gotten through one whole repeat. Yeah, it's about to go into purple again. So that's started and I'm so excited about it. I like to just go ahead and start one as soon as I can because that way I don't have to mess around with like, oh, when am I going to find time to cast it on? If I can just like literally Kitchener the toe and do the cast on in one round on the next sock, then it's started and I can pick it up and go later. The next finished pair of socks I finished before this week. I have been on a trip this week that I'll talk about a little bit later. And so this is in a bag and they are finished. This yarn is Long Dog yarn in Sparkle Sock, 75 merino, 20% nylon, 5% gold Selena. It's the colorway Traditions. This is how much I have left. Just probably half, like 50 grams and just a little tiny nug. Don't know what I'm going to do with this other than definitely put it in my crochet memories blanket. And here they are. These are long socks too. So one of these was already finished last time and this one I did leave the stitch marker on, but the ends are weaved in on this too. Who am I? So I have done all of this since the last time we talked. This is the project I reached for the most when I was at home. And I just cranked out the foot. You can see the sparkle on this too. Ugh, they're both sparkly, but it's showing up better on the toe because of the contrast. Same exact sock recipe that I did for the other socks, except instead of 20 rounds for the cuff, I did 6 inches. And that just gives me like the length of cuff that I want. Is it still called a cuff if it's like this long? What is that called? A leg? The leg of the sock? So yeah, these are really, I'm just so excited about them. So this is my second official pair of Christmas socks that I have knit. And here they are in all their glory. I just am so happy with them. They make me smile. I just need to wash them. And that is literally it. Then I can wear them. Because some of y'all are like, I cannot believe you're knitting all these socks. You live in Florida. It's 1,000 degrees. You're right. It is. But I love to wear hand knit socks to bed. I used to before kids. You would never, ever catch me wearing socks to sleep in. Never. I would rather die. I know that sounds dramatic, but like I could not go to sleep if I had socks on my feet. Now I can't go to sleep if I don't have socks on my feet, and I prefer hand knit socks. And after the second baby was born, Noah, my feet have just like changed a little bit. They have not changed size. It's more like they've changed shape. And so some of my sock pairs no longer fit me. I need a little bit more length in the foot and slightly more depth in the heel, which is highly irritating if I do say so myself. So anyways, I did a clean out of my sock drawer. I gave my mom a bunch and I am in the process of knitting new socks. So there is pair number 2. Pair number 3, I have knit in a week. And I know it's not sock week yet, but I have knit an entire pair of socks in a week. And the only reason this has happened is because I was traveling this week for a conference. And so I had Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So Wednesday and Thursday, 2 almost full days of being in a conference, and half of Tuesday and half of this morning, which is Friday. So basically 3 full days of sitting and knitting while people were doing presentations and things like that. That is the only reason these are done. This is not real life, okay? This is not how fast I can normally knit. I just find that whenever I'm listening to something, if I can knit, I pay attention more. It's harder with crochet because I have to look at what I'm doing when I crochet, whereas knitting in the round, I don't have to look. The yarn for this is magical. I think this is one of the prettiest yarns I have ever worked with, ever. It is by Mitchell's Creations. This was also a gift from my friend Amanda. It is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and the colorway is the Unbothered sock set. So this is the mini, and you will see that there is a very tiny cuff attached to this. That is because I cast off these socks. I Kitchener to toe. I immediately, while still at the conference, cast on another sock. So this is going to be sock number 3 out of this yarn. I definitely have enough to do cuffs out of this mini. I don't think I have enough to do toes, but we will see. This is the yarn. This yarn, y'all, like it was beautiful in the hank. It is beautiful in the cake. As far as the socks go, like beautiful does not even begin to describe it. This yarn is like luminous. I have never seen so many colors on a yarn before. And that, like, how did she get this many colors in this yarn? It is the most beautiful variegated yarn I have ever seen and ever worked with. And you're going to be like, oh, when you see it. Look at that. Look at all those colors. There is pink and blue and green and yellow and orange and cream and brown, and like it like glows. It is so gorgeous that I could not put these down. I wasn't just knitting to pay attention, although I was. I just wanted to work on these. And I can tell you, having knit an entire pair of socks in 3 days, my fingers are killing me. Not my elbow so much, but like my thumb, my finger, and I kind of push the needle sometimes, so I have like a hole in my finger. Worth it. Oh my gosh. I cannot deal. Oh, the shadow. I cannot deal with how beautiful these are. Now, these are not for me. These are for my mom. And I felt like she was due for another pair of socks because it's been a while since I've made her socks. She's a very knit-worthy person. She loves to wear these socks in the winter. And so I made her a fair amount of pairs over the years, but I made her try on a couple of my pairs to see what would fit her best. So she had some complaints about the ankle itself, this part, being a little too loose. So what I did, instead of 64 stitches, is I cast on 60 and did 2x2 ribbing, just like normal. And then once I got to the stockinette, I increased 4 stitches because I know that she needs the regular amount of stitches for this part of the foot, from the heel. On one of these socks, I increased immediately, and in the second sock, I forgot, and so I increased like 2 rows later. But I don't think you can tell, and I wasn't about to rip it out. I did the same Fish Lips Kiss heel, and then for the foot, she has smaller feet than I do. Like, she's like a size 6.5, 7, but I had her try on a bunch of my socks, and she preferred the socks that I have knit to a size 8. So what I actually did is make a size 8 sock, and I think that she will be more happy with these because I think they'll fit her perfectly. So I think this is the best pair of socks I've ever knit. I've thought about doing blue heels, but I just really liked the uninterrupted nature of this heel, and because it's so variegated and not striped at all, I don't feel like it pulls. I think it just matches the rest of the sock perfectly, and I am in love with them. I'm sad to part with them, but they are for my mom and she deserves them. And so I have not weighed this, but I'm sure I have enough to get one more pair of socks out of this. So I'm going to use basically every bit of yarn right here. I'm planning on making blue cuffs, doing the entire sock. I don't think I'm going to have enough to do 2 blue toes, but maybe I will do half of the toe in this color and then just do the very tip in blue. Could be. So I've got to take a picture of these. I really was working so hard in the last session of the conference this afternoon to get these done because I wanted to show them to you tonight so that I can give them to my mom before I see you next time. So yeah, 3 finished pairs of socks. Don't count on this ever happening again. Never will it happen again. So here we go. 3 pairs of socks. I'm so happy with them. 2 of them are for me. 1 pair is for my mom, and I have 2 new pairs on the go. Another pair of the ones I just showed you, and of course, the new Christmas pair. That is what has taken the majority of my time. Everything else I'm going to show you has been worked on like prior to this week. We might as well just start with what's close. So one of my works in progress you will have seen from the last video comes from the Hooks and Needles crochet subscription box that they sent me, and it is the pattern for their crossbody bag, which is called the Urban Crossbody Bag, and this is what it looks like when it is done. I made mine bigger, and so I have completed all of the squares, and I have done a lot of seaming. I have not weaved in any ends on this. So this yarn is the Hooks and Needles yarn Woodland Whisper colorway. It is 97% merino, 3% viscose, and you get 92 yards for 50 grams. They sent me 3 balls of that, and I made 6 extra squares, and I still have this left. Now, of course, I'm not done yet, so I may not have that left at the end, but this is what mine looks like. So as you can see, my squares turned out a little bit smaller than theirs, and I have a pretty tight crochet gauge. I also think that perhaps I could have sized up in hook size for this or done a gauge swatch, which I did not. So if I had left it alone originally, this is how big the bag would have been, which is super cute, right? But I wanted something bigger than that. So this is how big mine is. I actually added 3 squares on either side. This is going to be my entry into the Summer Romance Cal, which is run by Clarisabeth of CrochetCakes and Claudia of Crochet Luna. And the reason it is going to be in my Summer Romance Cal project is because all of these tweedy flecks look like space to me. And that reminds me of Han and Leia from Star Wars. So yes, gorgeous. I haven't worked on this at all this week because I have not been here. But basically what I did is I laid all the squares out, and just every night I would do one seam. So I did one seam one night, I did this seam the next night, then I did one of these seams, and I somehow got mixed up and did something very weird and had to rip something out. But basically it took me probably 4 or 5 days to seam this together. I still have all of these ends to weave in on the inside, and I have to figure out how I'm going to line it, because I am going to line this. My plan is to both line it and put a zipper in. Now they have you sew this zipper in just with a yarn needle and yarn, because they give you exceptionally sharp darning needles. But I'm going to use my sewing machine because I want to actually add a lining to this, and I might even add a pocket. That's too much, right? But after I add the lining, then I'm going to figure out what I want to do with the strap. So the strap they have has it like to make a crossbody bag like this. I don't know that I'm going to use this as a crossbody bag because crossbody bags are just not my style. Also, I have children, so I don't ever just have a tiny bag. I have a giant mom bag and a diaper bag and all kinds of nonsense. So I may just add a strap like this, like if I wanted to carry it like this, or after it has a zipper. I don't know. I haven't decided. It'll probably have the handle over here on the ends, not in the middle, but we'll see how sturdy it is after it's lined. I really love it. I really love this square. This particular square with puffs makes me really happy. I think that this would make a lovely dishcloth pattern. So delightful. I'm loving the Hooks and Needles box. I want to finish this because I still have another project to make. I'm going to make the makeup pouch. And of course I want to line that too, and I'm just extra, you know, just extra. And I can never leave well enough alone. But that is the Hooks and Needles subscription box, and I have a code for you. On your first box you can save 20%. So if you want to use the link directly down below this video, I don't make any money if you click on that link. That is just a code from them to you. I say try it because it's awesome. And also, if you like amigurumi, they just came out with an amigurumi box, I believe. Amigurumi is not my style, truthfully. I love them. They're so cute, but it kills my arm, so I almost never make them. But I have really enjoyed working on that project, and the little knit bag that I made for Nova, and I want to make the makeup pouch. And it's really pushing me out of my comfort zone. My comfort zone is like knitting in a circle, crocheting, you know, wearables, which I like. Is that a wearable? Is a purse a wearable? I guess you kind of wear it, but that's something I would not go looking for a pattern for. But I have so much enjoyed working on it. Now, speaking of crochet alongs, the Lisa Frank Mail is still running because it is still July technically. So we're running until the end of July. And so you still have time to enter your projects. The only requirement, it has to be neon, or you have to explain how it relates to Lisa Frank. I have finished, you saw the giant pink shawl of dreams in the last episode. That has been mailed off to its new owner. And I am actually working on another project that I think totally works for Lisa Frank. It will definitely not be done by the end of July, but I am really happy with it. Oh gosh, there's so much stuff. This is what happens when you leave for a week and you don't know what's happening. This is my Tunisian pattern. This is the Westmont shawl by Tony Lipsy. I'm making this version. It's the color blocked version. And I have completed an entire stripe set since the last time you saw it. Oh my gosh, is this not Lisa Frank or what? Y'all, when I say that I am in love with this project, I am in love with this project. So the way it works is you have Tunisian simple stitch for these purple stripes, and then you have a mesh pattern. And you use a different color for every mesh pattern, and there are 4 mesh panels. So will I have an entire stripe purple and a next color done by the next time I see you? Probably not, because these rows are getting very long, so they're taking a long time to do. When I was home before I left for the conference, on the nights that I was home and not doing a wedding or having a meeting, I tried to do like 2 rows a night. So the Tunisian simple stitch is gorgeous. I did not remember that I don't love doing the Tunisian simple stitch before I started this project. And it's a good thing I didn't remember that, because if I had remembered that, I would have modified this to be the Tunisian knit stitch, which is fine. But I have found that doing the Tunisian simple stitch, the reason I don't love it is because it's slow. I cannot go fast on that stitch, even though I just want to be like, woo, woo, woo. The mesh is so fast, like flies. And it's gorgeous. This, slow, but it actually makes it a meditative project. And it's really, I have been trying. Like, I will sit down, I will work on this, and I'll just be like, okay, I'm going to do my 2 rows. It doesn't matter how long it takes. I'm just going to do my 2 rows, and I'm just going to focus on this, and it's been really helpful. So I adore this. This yarn is, do I have the ball band somewhere? This is the one. There's a ball band shoved inside that ball of yarn. Ah, yes. It is Maelstrom Fiber Arts. It is a 75 merino nylon. It is from a lovely friend named Leslie, a viewer of this podcast. And I have 2 skeins of this in the colorway Velvet Boudoir. I am obsessed with this yarn. It is so plump and so squishy and so soft and so amazing that also makes the Tunisian simple stitch go really fast. And these are the yarns that I have picked to do my stripes. So this was number 1, this stripe right here. This was left over from a project that I did. This was number 2. You can see that there is a teeny tiny little nugget left of that yarn. That was a mini that I got out of an advent calendar. Then of course we'll have the purple stripe. This will be number 4. Let's see if I can do this. This will be number 4, and this will be number 5. So I'm pretty excited about this. I love it. I really love it. And it will be at least that big again. It doesn't seem like it's going to be a super big shawl. So it's always possible. Of course, it's going to block, so it's going to grow a lot. Like, this is how big it is. This is how big it is. I can always add another stripe if I want to. So I've been working on a lot of purple lately, and I just love it. The other crochet project that I have been working on is my Crochet Memories blanket, and I have added just a couple of new squares. Let me find, oh, the next color is in there waiting for me. I have added 3 squares. So I've added this red one, and this one. Those 3 squares to my Crochet Memories blanket. And I'm not going to unfold the entire thing, but it is growing. I have parceled out almost, I'm going around in a square basically and just building. I have parceled out the next like 10 or 15 squares that I'm going to add and like put them in order. So now that I'm home again, hopefully I can get some work into that. The Crochet Memories blanket is basically, it takes like 6 to 8 grams of yarn depending on your tension to do a little corner to corner square. It's join as you go. I have a free video tutorial on my YouTube channel. If you just go to my homepage and scroll down and look for the tutorial playlist, there's only one video on that playlist and it's that tutorial. The pattern, like the written pattern with instructions and photos, is also available on Ravelry, but it's only $1. So I know that that makes it accessible to a lot of people, and I'm so excited to see y'all's crochet memory blankets. Some of them have been popping up on Instagram lately, and I'm just in love. Okay? And the last project I have been working on is a brand new project. Well, technically I talked about it before. Before Noah was born, I was like, I'm going to start this, and then I will have knitting in a circle to do after he is born. That will be so fabulous. And then I went to start it, and I gauge swatched, and my gauge was a little bit off. And also, you do not get to go in a circle for quite a while. So it never got started. I swatched, and it never got started. It is the V-Neck Boxy by Joji Locatelli. I have wanted to make this for ages. The yarn that I am using for this is, I got it at Rhinebeck in 2022. It is from Fiber Optic Yarn. It is it's one of the nicest yarns I think I've worked with. It's 80% merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon, and it is the colorway Peacocks. And when I tell you that this yarn spoke to me, this yarn also is like luminous. It looks like a peacock. It basically glows. I can't. So I finally sat down. I had brain power one night. I want to say it was like Thursday night last week, maybe Wednesday night last week. And I took out my swatches. And the pattern calls for like a 3.5 millimeter needle. Yes. And I think that I had swatched with a 3.5 millimeter needle and my gauge was too tight. And then I swatched with a 4 millimeter needle and the gauge was spot on, but I didn't love the fabric. And then I was like, I just couldn't do the math whenever I did that to determine which size I was going to make and what I wanted to do. So I sat down, and it really wasn't that complicated. Basically, it works out to my gauge is a little too tight. However, that will subtract about 3 inches total of positive ease from the overall garment. This garment has like 20 inches of positive ease. So it's not going to be a big deal. And in fact, I am not going to mind or probably even notice that it's going to be smaller. So I just went ahead and cast it on with a 3.5 millimeter needle. And this is the back. Actually, let's see. This is the way it will sit. This is the back. So this is the right side. I couldn't tell which one was the right side and not, so I put a little stitch marker on it. It is a strawberry to determine which one's the right. So just imagine this is my back. So it's going to go like this, and then my needle is pretty small, but it's going to go like all the way down to here. You cast on here, and then you do short rows. So I have done all of the short rows. And now I think I'm working on the garter ridges. Let's see. I have to do 5 more rows of garter ridges, and then I'm going to work back and forth in stockinette. It's really hard to see because I'm printing this in black and white, but basically the top of the V-Neck Boxy has garter ridges right here, and this is all stockinette. So you work stockinette on the back piece until you get like 4.5 or 5 inches or whatever, depending on your size. And then you place the stitches on hold. Then you come back up to the top of the shoulder and you pick up stitches, I believe, and start working down this way. So you do both the front panels, so I'm going to have more garter ridges and possibly more short rows to do. I haven't read that far ahead in the pattern. And then you join under the arm, and then you get to go around in a circle. So am I going around in a circle now? No. So right now I'm knitting and purling. But every stitch of this is just magical. I don't even feel like it's showing up properly because my phone camera is going to like blur it out. And of course there's a shadow right there. This is why I don't record in here, because the light makes a shadow. But you know, it's Friday night. So yeah, I am just obsessed. This is a project that I've wanted to make for a very long time. I went to Rhinebeck with the specific purpose of buying yarn for this pattern. I purchased the yarn for this pattern. I tried to start it last year. So it's been almost 2 years since I got the yarn for this pattern. It's probably been 3 years, 4 years since I wanted to make this pattern. So it's like a dream come true to be working on it. And I love it. This yarn is so plump. And I'm really trying to do that right now because everything in life is haywire and crazy. And I'm trying to work with projects and yarns and colors that bring me joy. I'm not forcing myself to work on things I don't want to, but I'm specifically looking for things that like give me a small dose of oxytocin and serotonin. So like the purple in the Tunisian shawl, that my Crochet Memories blanket, of course, is a different color every time. The sparkly socks, right? These socks, oh my gosh. So I'm trying to work with color and yarn that brings me happiness, because I really need that right now. That is all the yarn content I have. I don't have any incoming. I don't have any happy mail, nothing like that. I've already been talking for half an hour. Oh my gosh. I'm going to give you all a quick life update. This might be a shorter podcast because it's late. It's 7:38 already, and I still have to pump. I have not eaten dinner. I'm just, So last time, I thank you all so much for your lovely comments on the last video and the videos before that, and just for being here while we've just been doing this really hard thing that Noah has been putting me through. So we did have him allergy tested. Milk and soy did not show up, but we already know those are a serious problem for him, so it didn't really matter. Randomly, the allergy test, it said he was allergic to one thing, pork, which is like one of the most random allergies I've ever heard of. One of my friend's babies is allergic to kale, and I was like, it's what? Like, where are these random allergies coming from? So he's not allowed to have pork now. The allergy appointment was very fun. He had been sick all weekend, so the allergy appointment was Monday, 5 days ago. Saturday and Sunday, he was really sick. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I think. Monday he woke up, thankfully did not have a fever, because they won't allergy test you if you have a fever. So we were able to go all the way to Tampa, get him allergy tested. I had to hold him still for 20 minutes. Screamed he hates being confined, much like my other child. We were able to determine that he's allergic to pork. So that's something. Now we can kind of move forward in determining what we're going to give him instead of breast milk, because when I tell you I cannot keep pumping, I mean that with every ounce of my soul. And some people have been like, well, it's only for like another month and a half, 2 months that you would have to keep pumping. So why can't you just do it? Because every time I pump, I am resentful. I hate it. I am miserable. It is using up every ounce of extra emotional availability I have. It's making me crazy. So for an hour and 20 minutes every day, I'm a crazy person. I want to cry. I want to scream. I don't like the feeling of pumping. I'm not getting anything good out of this, right? So the lactation consultant is coming again on Tuesday, and we're going to have a plan on what to feed him. So there is a particular formula we could give him. I'd rather not give him that, but I'm willing to at this point to stop pumping. We may also do like a vegan kind of protein shake thing, because basically what he needs is about 20 calories an ounce. And the plant milks that are available are not generally that. We could potentially do pea, but there's a big stomach adjustment, so I don't know if he would tolerate that. So anyways, it's a whole thing. I resent pumping with every ounce of my soul, and I'm going to tell her on Tuesday that if we do not have another option, he has to go on formula, because I cannot do this anymore. I just can't. And that is for the sake of my mental health and also like the sake of my family, because I am a worse parent when I am pumping. I don't have the capacity to be patient or kind or available. I just want to scream. So in the interest of like everybody being better, I've got to stop pumping. But at least I know, he's allergic to pork. We'll go back in 3 months. I don't know if we're going to test him again or what we're going to do, have some kind of plan to reintroduce these things. So that's something. So he was really sick for several days. Nova then got sick, and I was scheduled to go to a conference in Orlando. My mom graciously agreed to go with me because I had to take the kids. There was no way I could leave them home. As y'all know, if you've been here for any length of time, childcare is my biggest struggle in life. There just isn't any. And I don't want to go on my soapbox about childcare right now, but it's so hard. So basically they had to go with me. And so me, my mom, Nova, and Noah all stayed in a regular hotel room from Tuesday until today. And that was hard. I think that the kids were mostly okay, except whenever I walked in the room, there was like crocodile tears. Nova did pretty well. By this morning, she was literally going nuts. Noah was happy, but he did not sleep. Like, he slept the first day. He kind of slept the second day. He didn't sleep the third day. Like, he got progressively harder to put to bed every single time, which I would think it would be the opposite. Like, you're in a new place. You're not going to sleep the first couple of days, and then you'll get used to it. He started sleeping fine and progressively got worse. Like, also, last night when the hotel room, Nova woke up. I had taken them out to dinner to like Chick-fil-A, which was right down the street, because they had been trapped in this hotel, right? And I was like, let's just get out of the hotel. Let's go get some dinner because I have to go back to the conference again tonight. So let's get out. They have a play place. You can run around. And we went to Chick-fil-A, and something did not agree with Nova. And so at like 11 p.m., she woke up and said her stomach hurt and she had to poop. Okay, she did. She went back to bed. And then he woke up crying. He didn't eat the same thing. So he was fine. He didn't have a stomachache. But I was pacing in circles with him in a dark hotel room while other people are sleeping for 20 minutes. I almost had him asleep. And then I hear this sound. And if you are a parent, you know the sound that happens right before your kid throws up. It's like a huh, huh, and then there's a cough, and then just bleh. She barfed up all her dinner, like all over her the pillow, her teddy bear, her other teddy bear, herself, the little sleep tent she was sleeping in. It was, y'all, when I tell you I hate throw up, I would rather deal with almost anything else than throw up. And she's crying like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, girl, it's not your fault. Like, I'm trying to be calm. I have to put him down on the floor. He instantly starts screaming, wakes my mom up. So she takes care of him because he's just sobbing hysterically. I get Nova all cleaned up. We wash her off. We rinse out her teddy bear, hang it to dry, like do all the things. I make her a separate little pad to sleep on. She kind of goes back in bed. He did not go back to sleep for 2 hours. Eventually, he went back to sleep in the bed with me. But 2 hours, y'all. Like, what is this kid doing? I don't know. But it was wild. It was really good to go to a conference, though. It was like part conference, part training. And it's just been so long since I have been around colleagues, like peers, people that I can talk about my job with. It has been so long since I've had any kind of professional development because I'm just at home with these kids where I'm doing church work all the time, which is wonderful, okay, and I love it. But there is so much output and there's almost no input. And it's been like that since 2020 because COVID shut the world down. And then, of course, I had a baby, a very high needs baby, and she's still a high needs toddler. And now I have another baby who has fairly high needs. So there's just not, how do I want to say this? there's not a lot of time for me. And if I have time, I'll crochet, but like my job really fulfills me and who I am. And I feel like, as I said last time, it feels like everyone's getting the short end of the stick. Like I'm just putting out fires constantly, and I'm not enjoying this at all. I'm not really enjoying parenting. I'm not really enjoying my job. And both of those things have people that I love in them. Like I love my kids and I love my church. But I'm feeling like very ambivalent about everything lately. And specifically when it comes to parenting, some days it feels like I'm just not cut out for this. Which is a sad thing to say. And I know it's not true. Okay. It's just been a lot lately. But all that to say, it was really nice. Like really nice to be around colleagues. It was not so nice to be in a conference using all this mental brain power for like 4 hours in a row, go back to the hotel room and instantly be cried at by both kids. That was not so nice. It was not so nice to try to put the baby down. And he, one time, literally, I was about to like put him in a crib and walk away. But he headbutted me and I was like, oh. And then he pulled my hair and I was trying to get his hand out of my hair and he smacked me in the face. If he wasn't trying to smack me in the face, he was just flailing because he was mad. And I was just like, dude, you cannot headbutt and pull your hair and smack. No. So all that happened. We're home. The drive home took about an hour longer than it should have. And the baby cried for almost 2 hours of the drive. So I think the drive took like 2 hours and 45 minutes, probably almost 3 hours. He cried for 2/3 of that, like screamed himself hoarse. So I am just exhausted. I'm really, really tired and I'm using all of my leftover energy to record this podcast. So what I have to do tonight now is I'm going to plug this in my computer, edit it really, really fast. And by edit it, I mean like put a title on it and the music and hit process. I'm not going to delete anything or like make changes. I'm going to then start that. I'm going to then pump and then I'm going to try and find something to eat because I'm starving. Oh, I should say, trying to eat at this conference, they tried to be so accommodating, but when you can't have vegetable oil because it's mostly soybean oil, that is really hard. So it was really hard, but I'm home. All is, I'm not going to say well, but all is existing. And I'm just really happy to be able to get this episode out for you because on the way home, I was like, I don't even know if I can do this tonight. But then he finally stopped crying and I was like, okay, maybe. He went to bed without fighting me too hard tonight. I think he's very happy to be home. Nova's very happy to be home. I'm happy to be home and sleep in my own bed and see my husband. Maybe someday I'll get to go to a conference by myself and be a person. So leave me a comment below and let me know what you're working on. Like, are you working with yarns that bring you joy right now? I hope you are. If you are, tell me what project is bringing you joy right now. Because last time I asked what projects you were working on, I got so many good comments and I added so many things to my Ravelry queue. So I'm going to sign off for here and just say I love you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for, as Kalisha says, being part of my universe. I have felt your support and I really, really appreciate it because I've needed it a lot. And oh, I'm going to stop before I start crying. So love you lots. Have a wonderful 2 weeks and I will see you again soon. Bye, friends.